It's lazy booking. It's A2D radio. Lots of wrestling. Huge weekend to talk about with another fantastic guest who we loved a couple weeks ago and is back again. Like, subscribe, follow. Let's get going.
Let's go.
Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing.
I
did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
Welcome in, everybody. Lazy Booking Live here on A2D Radio, Tuesday night, niche night. Your lead-in show to Flyers A2D, which is going to have a lot to talk about in their own right. But we got a heavy week that we're going to dive into, and we got about 45 minutes to an hour to do it. Apologize for the late start. Big storm over here in the East Coast, which clearly, our hearts go out to everybody in Texas and people in the West and all that who are going through lots of different storms right now. But we're here. We're ready to talk some wrestling. We're here to show some love to our sponsor, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. Him and his award-winning team can assist you with any long-standing or any new physical ailments that you have. So make sure you guys check out the website in front of you, specializedphysicaltherapy.com, or you can visit them at their physical locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Well, happy to welcome back guest co-host Eric Archer back to the show with a lot to talk about. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me back on. Very excited to talk about the week ahead. Huge weekend for wrestling fans, whether you're WWE, AEW, NXT. Got a little bit for everybody. Some women's wrestling. Let's talk about it. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Lots to talk about, and we love it. Let's talk about it. And talk about it we will. Obviously, this weekend, what started as really all-in weekend, right, became a weekend that it's absolutely saturated in professional wrestling. And we're not even talking about, like, Smackdown, right? We're just talking about Saturday and Sunday, 4 huge shows, lots of different names included. We want to dive into that. But first and foremost, Eric, as you know, we start with an agree to disagree topic. We're going to get into that. And for all you out there, all of our commenters, please like, subscribe, follow, share the show out on your social media platforms. Give A2D Radio a little bit of love. Go visit the Lazy Booking show page. Give that a little bit of love. We would really appreciate that. So we already got a couple of comments in, and we'll get to them momentarily. But let's hit that opening topic. Eric, agree to disagree here, buddy. And if you hear some storms here, I apologize for that too. I really couldn't set up all my stuff because of everything that was going on. So I can't really help lightning and thunder. The weekend battle between AEW and WWE is an overall positive for pro wrestling. Do we agree or do we disagree? And I'm interested to hear the take that you, or the route that you go with this.
Well, I'm gonna say agree, because I feel like wrestling in general, the more you have, the more you can consume, the better it is for everybody. I think, with AEW All-In, it's like their WrestleMania. There's been a lot of build for that, and then WWE has decided, based on who knows what, I'm guessing they have some data that shows that, hey, we can get some of this market share. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go back like we did in the back in the 80s with Starrcade and Clash of Champions and things like that. And let's counter program with the Royal Rumble, with that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and start doing that again. But I think it's a win for professional wrestling fans out there. You, like I said at the beginning, at the top, you got a little bit of everything for everybody. And if you don't get a chance to watch certain things, you're going to get a chance to watch it, because All In is in the afternoon. So there's no really, there's going to be a chance to watch everything. You watch All In, you take a you take a little bit of a break, have some dinner, have a couple beverages of your choice, and then you can go ahead and start watching. Evolution's on Sunday, right? So, and then you have Saturday too. You have Great American Bash. Am I saying that? So we have Great American Bash on Saturday and Saturday's main event, and then we have All In on Sunday afternoon, and then we end the weekend with Evolution. So I think it's just a win-win for everybody. You get a chance to watch who you want. You're probably going to see some of your favorites and maybe people that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so no, All In is Saturday.
Well, that's my mistake.
So All In
so
is
much.
3 p.m. So it's weird, right? Because we know this is going to be like a 5-hour show. So basically, it's that and NXT start at the same time. And I didn't see what time Saturday night's main event starts.
I think that's at 8:00 on Saturday. That I got right. That I know I got right. But based on some of the things that I saw today Tony Khan had a call with the media today, and it sounds like it's going to be over well before Saturday night's main event. So I think there's going to be an opportunity, even if it's a 5-hour show. I think there's an 8-match card, something like that. It's a pretty large card, which is typical of AEW. They like to jam a lot of people on the card. And but I will say this, they always seem to deliver on the pay-per-view with the matches. I know you and I have talked offline about how we feel about certain outcomes possibly and all that. I'm sure we'll get to that, but yeah, I think it's again going back to the beginning where there's opportunity for everybody to get what they want out of the weekend. You can watch as much as you want or as little as you want, and I think everybody will probably be pretty satisfied with all the events that are coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to agree to the poll, and I say that with a caveat. I am well aware that there could be a level of oversaturation of what is going on. It's a weekend where we thought we're only going to have so much. And then obviously, people get up in arms because either WWE books when AEW does or vice versa. Now, obviously, they packed this weekend. But I just kind of look at the big picture of it because it's not just that we're going to have these talents. And yeah, do I love the fact that they're running? Like I think NXT is gonna hurt from this but then again, it's $50 a pay-per-view in an era where people don't really want to pay for $50 for pay-per-view anymore. The pay-per-view model is a dying model, right? We're looking at Fight, or I guess it's Triller TV now, which is dying. It used to be Fight TV. So maybe NXT can benefit from that. I just think that highlighting, this is a true, we're getting the best of the best from AEW. And the WWE side, you're getting a little bit of everything. You're getting a lot of current storylines that can lead to SummerSlam. You're getting your legacy act, both on Saturday night's main event as well as Evolution. When you combine folks like Trish Stratus and Nikki Bella, obviously with Goldberg and his final match coming up. And then I look on the other side and we look at NXT, which I think has been a tremendous product over the last 6 months to a year. And you see, it's not just them, but you're having Mike Santana and you're having Joe Hendry featured from TNA Impact Wrestling. So this is like a smorgasbord of talent that is getting, I mean, who knows who's going to show up? You may get TNA or you may get AAA talent that shows up in that women's battle royal. So
yep.
It just seems like a weekend where there's so many, there's really a little bit for everybody. And I know it's a lot to commit a weekend to watch it all. But if you have the patience to do it, I do think this is a good weekend because, especially if you're converting somebody or you're a person who's kind of a little more of a casual, this is a weekend to really indulge in all of it and different aspects of what professional wrestling is, and I think become more of a fan of it.
Definitely. I think too, like you were saying with the Battle Royal, you notice they haven't really announced any names. So
I think just Nikki Bella.
Yeah. And I think they added a few people, like they said that they were in. I think Ivy Nile last night asked if she was in, and Adam Pearce said that she was in. So they've kind of randomized that, and it's left a lot of surprise elements to it. You could see women from the past. You could see some NXT talent. You could see, like to your point, you could see some TNA talent as well. So, I'm very intrigued by how they're booking that, where they're not really giving you any indication of who could be in it and who could not be in it, because at the end of the day, the winner's getting a championship match at Clash in Paris. So it's got to be somebody that they're who knows. It leaves a lot to be a lot of interest there, and the surprise element.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do think it's just there really is an opportunity for some, maybe if you are somebody, especially at least people in our area in the Northeast, it's going to be like 8 days of storms at this point, right? So if you're a person who's kind of stuck in the house and really not able to get out too much over the next couple of, well, I don't say over the next week or so, it's a nice way to sit down, kill a little bit of time, and really, again, enjoy so many aspects of the product, people from different companies, including AEW. Like I do feel that when it comes to AEW, we talk about this all the time, Eric. Weekly programming, I really struggle to get through it. But I have to say, when it comes to their pay-per-views, overall, sometimes they overbook an ending, but overall they knock it out of the park. It's a home run, and I have to give them credit where it's due. So I think this is going to be a really good weekend of wrestling. Like, you're getting their WrestleMania essentially.
Yeah, I saw, and I'll tell you, looking at some of the ticket sales, and I wonder if WWE is kind of regretting the fact that they're saturating themselves, because all these events are in Atlanta. So essentially, you're for the people that are going to the shows. I would imagine that most people would probably be going to all of them. You may have some that just go to one or two, but I mean, the way prices are right now, you may only be able to do one of those shows. So I think maybe looking at saturating that market a little bit, maybe in WWE's, like in looking at the numbers, maybe they look at doing it a different way next time. Maybe they do it in a different venue, a different location, so that they can maximize their ticket sales, and not have it to where fans may have to choose to go, oh, do I want to go to NXT? Do I want to go to Saturday Night's Main Event? I want to see Goldberg. Then it's like, all right, well, maybe I want to go to Evolution because I want to see Trish, or I want to see, whatever match that they're that whatever person that they really like. So that right there is something that I'm sure they'll go back and be like, we'll see. Because I think I saw Evolution is not anywhere near sold out. And I think they're only set up for 6,000, and I think they're at like 4,500. So I mean, they may get close to selling out, but I think Saturday Night's Main Event is very close to being sold out, which I think is due to Goldberg, without question. I think we lost your. Oh, there you go.
No, you didn't. I had to clear. Told you, it's like weird and running around and with the storm and having the laptop.
Yeah.
I realized my thing looked a little bit smudged. So anyway, yeah, no, I'm very, very excited. I do agree with you. I just don't think they strategize the sales of things when it comes to. First of all, I think they waited way, way too long. Like, we've known this Evolution show was coming up for a while, and I really do think they could have really sold the product much more ahead of time. They could have had a longer build, and we've talked about it. There's certain things you didn't like that I told you let's take it on the air.
Yes.
And we're not going to dive into every element of every show because we'd be sitting here for 2.5 hours.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We're just going to kind of touch on the main stories of things. But when we circle back, we'll get to that. But I think that they could have did more to assure that it's a packed house. At the end of the day, do I think it will be? Close. Like, I mean, to me, it's when you're starting to approach 5,000, they hold 6,000. You're pretty much
you're probably going to get those people that go to Saturday's main event. They haven't gotten a ticket yet, and they're like, "All right, well, maybe I'll walk up, see what I can get." I'm sure they're gonna be close to. They may not sell out, but it'll be close. And I think it was smart to only have it set up for 6,000 because I think to what we were just talking about saturating, I think it wouldn't have been smart to put 15,000 available and then you're only sitting at 4,500, close to 5,000, and then it looks even worse on paper. So I think that was smart. But I think again, maybe next time, and like we'll talk about, could they have done more to build this up? Could they have done it in a different venue in a different area? There's a lot of questions that, of course, we'll probably never get the answer to, but it just makes you wonder.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump in. Let's dive in. Right. I want to talk about some of the shows that we have coming on. There is a couple comments. Gonna agree to the poll. It's gonna be really good if both PLEs go off with a bang. Greg saying, "What's up?" I saw us say his name.
Hey guys.
Years.
There you go.
Hove agrees as well. It should be good. So yeah, lots of good stuff here. Let's dive into AEW first, right? And I think there's really two matches that are really the primary thing that we're concerned with here. And we had a very hotly contested conversation earlier. Not necessarily between us, but with another party that is with us. So let's talk about it. The women's title match. We have the CEO, the belt collector, 2.0, Mercedes Moné, a.k.a. Sasha Banks for WWE fans who don't watch AEW, taking on Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, for the women's championship. I'm going to let you kick this one off. A, are you a fan of how this match how we've gotten to this match? B, are you a believer that it is Tony's time to win, or it is Sasha? See, I still say Sasha. Mercedes' time to win. Do you believe that AEW will make the right decision here? And that's kind of where we're gonna roll from there, because I have an idea of where we're gonna go with this. But it was just a really good conversation. I felt like we should share with the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the two people that are supposed to be in that match are in that match for the fact that Mercedes, for better or for worse, is, I believe she's undefeated. She hasn't lost a match in AEW. She's been built to be, the CEO and is the TBS champion. She won the Owen Hart, and she's collecting titles all over the place, CMLL and Japan and who knows where, probably South Jersey and New York and all those championships too. But just trying to be funny. But I feel like it would be a big mistake to, talking about Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm, for all the things we talk about with AEW and as far as building characters, and I think a lot of it has to do with the talent themselves. I think there's going to be a big mistake if they allow Toni Storm to drop the title to Mercedes. And I think because everybody knows Mercedes as, like you said, Sasha Banks, and she, her resume in WWE and coming in with all that track record. I would say. So I think that if you have Mercedes, she's already built, she's already established. Where does she go from there? She grabs another title, and then that's really then what? Then what happens with Toni Storm? I know she did lose to Mariah May in that feud, and then came back strong, and it really, I think it helped her. But I think in this scenario, it's a little different because Mercedes is already established. It's not going to hurt her to lose this match. She's the TBS champion already. So I think Toni needs to win this match much more than Mercedes does. I'm hopeful that they make the right decision and are talking about Toni going over, but we've seen, as we talked about, you talked about the overbooking and the questionable stuff that they do. I would not be surprised if Mercedes were to go over and take the championship. It's funny we talked about that. So talked about the Tony Khan call today. It was brought up because there's a lot of questions about what exactly does Mercedes have control of with as far as her creative is concerned, and it got brought up, and Tony Khan flat out denied it, that she has creative control. The only person that has creative control is Tony Khan. So whether you agree with that or you disagree with that, he put it out there like he's putting himself out there saying like nobody here has it. So does that go into account on his decision making? Is he looking at it like, all right, well, they think that she has creative control. Maybe I do need to let Toni go over in this scenario. But it remains to be seen what they're going to do. I think it's going to be a good match. I think the buildup has been good. I think it's been kind of silly with like her coming out eating steak and having their little promos together, but I think all in all, you're going to get a good match, and it's going to be entertaining. I think Mercedes has stepped it up a notch. Not saying that she's like the best that they have. I think there's better wrestlers that they have on that AEW roster, but I also think that she has stepped it up a little bit. A little bit. Her match quality's gotten a lot better from where she started at the beginning. She's had some tough ones, but I think this could set up to be a really good match, and I think it's got good. And you don't know who's going to win, and that's where the best, where you get your best product is when going in. You don't know who's going to win going in, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I'm hopeful that it goes the Timeless's way.
All right. Well, first and foremost, everybody who's out there, I see we got some viewers on here. Make sure you guys throw a like on this video, give it a share, and please comment in. We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
Right now we're on AEW All-In. We're going to be coming up to some of the WWE shows in a few minutes, so please come in, engage us, enjoy the conversation, get into the conversation. We'll pop your comments up. We'll respond to them, I promise you. But yes, in response to you. All right, first of all, this is who I said earlier. This idea that Mercedes is getting better. It's getting better because of Timeless Toni Storm. First of all, I don't think that there's a question of who's winning this matchup at all. I would be utterly, utterly, utterly shocked if Toni Storm wins. She should win, but I would be utterly shocked. For what AEW's mission started out as, and it's an alternative, and it's a place for people who are different, and this and that. When you had the Sunny Kisses and Joey Janela's and Jimmy Havoc's, who I know what he ended up being, but still, you had all these people. You had the Lucha Bros, and you had all these different people in different forms of talent. Nyla Rose. I don't buy into what the mission of AEW is. And this is where my problem comes in. So Mercedes is a made woman. And I don't believe that I don't believe that Tony Khan knows how to run a wrestling company. I really don't. I think it's all action figures to him. WWE has somebody that's gone. He goes, he gets the shiny new figure, he plays with it for a month and then maybe 2, and then he's like, oh, let me go get the new figure, the new series that came out. And it's kind of just like Woody when what's his name?
Andy,
when he calls, he starts kind of growing out of Woody. You know what I mean? And it's sad and it's pathetic. But like, I really truly believe this. I believe, like, I look at a guy like a Scorpio Sky. Why is he not on television? Like, and I'm not even going to down the Keith Lee road, who I do think WWE mishandled. Why is Scorpio Sky not on TV? He's been saying he's healthy. The last time he got hurt, he said he was healthy, and it took him forever to put him on TV. So he is easily, and I'm talking in ring. And I thought some of his heel stuff was amazing, like some of his best, like the best heel work going at that time. Why is he not in there? So now the whole reason I'm going into this is this was what this comedy was supposed to be. It's supposed to be about making an alternative and creating new stars in the business. However, Tony Storm was an accident for them. That was not something that was planned. They had this character that they said, okay, Tony's kind of, she's going to lose her mind a little bit. And they fell into this thing that got massively over. Right? But that's great. Because now in a company and in a division that no matter who they put in, it just cannot get over. You have the face of your company, your star in the making. And honestly, you had another one that you just let go to WWE. Right? That was your perfect heel in your face. You could have did a rivalry between them for years. That could have been your Brett and Shawn on the women's side. It could have been your Charlotte and Becky, or you know what I mean? And I like Mercedes. I said this to you a million times, Eric. I'm going to say it again. She is a WWE styled talent. It does not work for me in AEW. This belt collector gimmick, it is a hard strain, hard reach from what Kenny Omega did a couple years ago. And even that was rough. Like, it wasn't always great. The Impact stuff was really cringy. Like, they really kind of like degraded Impact. And that whole thing was to make Kenny Omega look better, right? Another Tony Khan thing, by the way, who went on their programming and ran down the company they're supposed to be working with, which is what makes the difference between them and WWE right now and how they work with Impact. I digress. But this whole thing with Mercedes, Sasha, like, she is putting in her best work now because of she is working with Tony Storm. Because Tony Storm is making her character stretch. You know what her character reminds me of a little bit, Eric? Early Goldust, where you get this unpredictability, you get this sensual and sexual undertones. And it's, like the whole bisexual, like they embrace it. They're bringing
the androgynous character.
Correct. Androgynous character. That's a great word. It really does kind of remind me of that. And this whole thing with Mercedes is like you're getting the best out of her. But this belt collect, it's just so forced. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this whole build up over the last year, Eric, was to get her to feed her to Tony to get Tony to the next level. Maybe. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I could clearly see that happening, and that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not sure what direction they're going to go. And I think I 100% agree that, and like I said, I think this is more of Tony Storm than Tony Khan as far as character and building. And I think it was an accident. I don't think it was anything to do with, the booking genius that Tony Khan is or isn't or whatever. I think it's clearly Tony Storm. She made this thing work and continue to evolve. And it's gotten to a point where she is right there with the top stars, with Will Ospreay and with Swerve as your top stars in AEW. When you think of AEW, Tony Storm is definitely right there as far as who you're thinking about. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is the last match on the card. It could very well be. And I think it's going to be? Probably not. I think, especially, and then we're going to talk about the next one, but I'd be curious to see what happens, if which one, because either one I think I could see being that last match, but I guess we'll find out come Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I would find it really hard to believe that it would be. I'm not saying it's not deserving. You're spot on. Quick shout out to our buddy here, Rue. Comments in, Mercedes isn't even in the same ballpark as Tony Storm in terms of promos. Can't touch her on the mic. All her dialogue is delivered bad, like a high school play. Tony is a star, legit. And he follows up with, "Wow, I never looked at the connection to early Gold Dust, but you're dead on." Yeah, I mean, I just like I asked you guys this earlier, and I got no response. In a year, it's been about a year since she's been in AEW, right? A little over?
Yeah, it's a little over a year.
Okay. Who has she gotten over in a year?
Nobody.
She feuded with Willow, and honestly, that didn't get her over. Willow got over on her own. Willow got over, A, by fighting with her own tag team partner, Chris Statlander.
Yep.
And B, what she's been doing in terms of working against the Death Riders and showing how badass she is and taking moves from men, that has put her on a next level.
Yeah.
So, who has Mercedes gotten over? I'm going to call out Nick on this one because he's the one who says it to us in our private chat. This idea that Mercedes constantly puts on, to me, it's rinse and repeat. It's the same match over and over.
Yeah.
And she botches. The thing about, I don't mind the whole 5 moves of doom. People gave Cena a problem for that. I think almost every wrestler has 5 moves of doom.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think what takes certain wrestlers like a Kenny Omega and a Will Ospreay and a Seth Rollins and these guys who are the next level, to me, that might be the top 3 in the world right now, in terms of in-ring.
Yeah.
And I look at those guys, and what makes them special is they do have the same kind of moves. We get the Falcon Arrow, we get this, we get that.
Sure.
But there's never a match that feels the same. It's not the rinse and repeat. And they could have – Okada has had how many matches with Omega, and none of them have ever felt like they're the same match. It's just – how many times have we seen Roman and Seth, and every match feels different? And they've been doing that for over a decade.
Yeah.
And I just look at guys like that, and they're so special that, when I look at someone like Mercedes and – just because what they do is good and the other person can take the move good, it doesn't make it a great match. And I just think it's a glorified independent style. I actually think she's kind of sloppy in the ring overall. And I just don't think that everything, because guys do all these high flying moves, maybe I'm like a boring guy. I get into it in moderation. I don't need it. And I do think that AEW is a very glorified independent company, which is fine. It's fine if that's what they are.
Yep. And that's why they have the base that they do. And that if you're looking for that,
and it doesn't grow. That should tell you everything. They haven't grown in 5 years.
Right.
Which is fine. They have a huge following. So I still follow them. I like them. I support them. I'm definitely I'm just not one of those, Claudio Castagnoli always has good matches. Great. I feel like it's the same match every time I watch it.
Yeah.
I do. I really do. I'm not saying it's not great, but there's nothing that super stands out to me. I watch Omega and Ospreay though. I've really come on the Ospreay board.
Yeah.
He might be the best in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I yeah, definitely.
I don't ever feel like I watch the same match. Josh Alexander, who's being wasted in AEW right now.
Yeah, it seems, and hate to keep going back to that call today, but he was asked about certain. He was asked about Britt Baker because there's rumors about her trying to get out of her contract. He's like, "Oh, I've never discussed that." You don't know whether he's just trying to just play damage control or whatever. But I think he's definitely Tony has a track record of putting people on the shelf and then you never see them. Like you talked about Scorpio Sky, Keith Lee, Josh Alexander. I mean, there's plenty of people on that. Like there's plenty of people on that list, and it's sometimes it's frustrating because those are guys that you want to see, and then you don't see them for weeks on end, and then maybe never again.
They signed Josh Alexander, and I implore everybody. Sometime within the last year, there was a match, and you can look it up. It's on TNA Impact, and it's after they turned into TNA, so it's within the last year. Excuse me, a little over a year, where they had Josh Alexander versus Will Ospreay. Free. It was free on TNA Impact.
Wow.
And the match was is one of the best matches I've watched in years. I'm talking, these two dudes were like level 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, and they were just on the same par in sync. And I believed it before them, but I became a really big believer in Josh Alexander. And part of me actually didn't want to see him leave AEW because he did have such great matches. And I don't believe that he was a small fish in a big pond, or a big fish in a small pond. I believe that he did deserve the opportunity. So I was like, okay. And even though it was going to AEW, I said, this dude, that actually might be a good spot for him. He can talk, which, by the way, we don't hear him talk at all. Like, he's actually a really good promo. But then, like, I thought, okay, like, we're going to get unbelievable matches. And he has been there, and he has been put with a guy who, like he's been put in the Don Callis family, where everyone's in the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
And he's essentially a lackey for Kyle Fletcher. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's what you talked about. And, I don't want to get too stuck on TK. We got a couple things to get in, but to your point, what you were talking about, it's like, what are we doing here? And that's why I worry about Tony Storm and what's happening with, like, are we going to fall into this? Like, I believe that he believes that Mercedes is the one that needs to get them to the next level. In my opinion, the way she gets them to the next level is by putting Tony over.
Yeah. And I think
and then doesn't go back in the title picture right after. But I don't need a continuance of this feud.
Well, she's the TBS champion. She's got a title to defend. So, correct. Like, what's happened to the TBS title? Like, it hasn't been defended because she's carrying it. She's going after. I don't remember the last time she defended it. I mean, she won the Owen Hart. It's like it's been a forgotten title. It's just been sitting there on her shoulder with the rest of them. But like, it just goes to show you, I think, again, like, does she really need it? She's going to be exactly where she is right now. She's established. She's a star, like, and for better or worse, she's a star. She's a name, and to put another talent over just shows that, if she's willing to give back, which hopefully she is, then, we should see the outcome being that Tony's winning. And now you've got an even bigger star. You got two big stars. So it's hopefully, and I hope you're wrong. I do. But we shall see.
I hope so too, buddy. And before we jump on to the next topic, I just want, we're the next match. I do want to remind people, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Give us a comment.
Like this thing.
Join the conversation. And programming alert again. Let's not forget, 2 weeks from today, it's going to be an early start time. So we're going to be 12 p.m. Eastern time. WWE Hall of Famer, tag team legend, one half of the greatest and most decorated tag team of all time. He's going to be joining me here on Lazy Booking, Devon Dudley, which I guess I should get the comments off of here, right? Comments will help everything. But, yeah.
Testified. So I'm really excited for that. That's going to be if you're gonna listen to one podcast, of course you want to listen to ones that I'm on, but
absolutely.
Also Devon. You want to listen to Devon too.
Let me tell you, I went to ShopRite the other day. I got stopped by somebody who watches the show. This is legit.
No kidding.
And said, hey, I can't believe you're getting on Devon. I'm like, yeah.
Pretty awesome.
My kid watches the show too. So I was like, oh, it's awesome. Yeah, he's yeah, I told him you're getting him on. He's pretty excited. He's going to be watching it. So yeah, it's going to be a great time. Huge guest star. I've had quite a few people. In fact, I spent 4th of July with Brian, who's on the show with us quite a bit. Little special thing I'll be announcing about him too today. But he said that's a really good get Devon on. So
absolutely.
So I guess I'll get to that news too. Blue Meanie. So we've done it before here on A2D Radio. We're going to make it part of the Lazy Booking podcast. Once a month, every 4 Eagles games, is going to be a special Eagles edition of Lazy Booking.
Ooh.
So maybe a little wrestling, towards the end or halfway through. Brian's going to join me as a every 4-week co-host through the season and playoffs to discuss football. So that was something we talked about doing the other day. We did it 2 years ago. We didn't really do it so much last year. I think we did like 2 shows. Talked about wanting to get back to it together. And he's 100% down to come on every 4 weeks. So for all of our football and Eagles fans out there, and maybe we'll talk some of the other teams too, whatever. Brace yourselves because we'll have him in as a co-host every 4 weeks throughout football, regular season, and playoffs. Anyway, back to it. Eric, obviously our main event, I would assume is going to be the main event. Maybe not, but in Texas, we're getting Hangman Adam Page, who I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. In my opinion, is the most interesting character right now in professional wrestling. He comes in to avenge really everybody and reclaim the title belt that's been ridiculously and atrociously been put in a briefcase for over a year. Just your quick thoughts on this match. Who do you believe is going to win this match? Is this Hangman's moment, or is there somebody else who's going to be lurking?
And I think, being real quick, I think it's kind of the same questionable booking. I could see it going either way. I think Hangman should win the match, but do I think that it could go the other way? Absolutely. Just because of the track record of Tony's booking. So I think Hangman's in a spot where he's, like I said a few weeks ago, he's got the sympathy. He's getting beat up every week. He finally got, some of it back by Buckshot Larrying Marina Shafir, which I've seen some funny clips on those about her just standing in the ring aimlessly and just like doing nothing. But I digress. But anyway, I think Hangman. I think it's time for him to get that belt out of that briefcase, get all the cobwebs out, and show it and raise it. And I hope that's where they're going with it, because I think like we've talked about it. I think the Death Riders, it's dead. It needs to go away for a little while. It needs to be put on the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially it's the Blackpool Combat Club. It's the BCC, right? It's the same thing we've already seen. All they did was change their name and put a title belt on a briefcase. That's what they did. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's worked for a while. Again, I can't get over. Like again, I'm going to go in this comment. We may not get some of his other shit, but what going through my mind. Cody Rhodes is with AEW. And like within like your first year and a half of the company, you make it so he can never be champion. Like that's like, you know what I mean? Then you have the nicest, like in my opinion, some people like the old NJPW, whatever. In my opinion, current title belts now. The AEW title belt is one of the most beautiful title belts, if it's not the most beautiful.
It is. It is
huge. It's got a unique look to it, a unique shaping to it. It is gorgeous. And you haven't seen it on television in like a year.
I forgot what it looked like until I watched I saw a video of John Gruden got some AEW gear, and he pulled it out. I was like, oh, that's what it looks like. I haven't seen it in forever, but I agree. It's beautiful. Show it off. I don't get it, but
It's atrocious. Yeah. I mean, the move needs to be Hangman. I can't imagine. Like, I know a lot of us thought Kenny Omega, or not Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay was going to be the guy to knock this off. I think the booking's been terrible going up to this point. I think you could have kept the title belt on Bryan Danielson for longer, or had never put it on him and given Swerve another 2 or 3 months before you made that move.
Yeah.
Because I think if you were taking it off of Swerve, it needed to be at All In last year in England.
Right. I agree.
If you're not doing that, it should have stayed on Swerve. You eventually could have put it on Moxley and shortened this awful, awful storyline for as long as it's been. That being said, I am not a Moxley guy. I'm not. I don't care who is. I don't find him entertaining anymore. I don't think he's been entertained for a long time. There are elements and times where his character, but I think it's the same old thing. I just don't get it. Like it's lazy to me. It's kind of, we're going back to when he was on the Stone Cold podcast and Steve Austin asked him questions and it just came off super lazy to me.
All right, I'm going to bleed. I'm going to blade, and then I'm going to bleed all. I'm going to bleed all over the ring. I would imagine that's going to happen again at All In.
100%.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, rinse and repeat.
It's just bad. Like the promos don't even to me. The promo is the same thing every week. The best thing I think he said, and I was okay with it at first, was when he said, like, I was okay if you wanted to keep the belt off for 2-3 months, maybe, because I did like what he said. I thought it was meaningful when he said, "Why do you need to see the title belt? I am the title belt." Like, I think that was really powerful.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, the title belt is the symbol of what your stature is and your status. And they have one of the, and just to not have it at all, again, like, he shouldn't have been holding on to the title for as long as he has. So anyway, it'd be interesting. I think Hangman goes, I can't imagine that he does.
Said I we've seen the overbooking before and the overthinking of everything. Like, and we've talked about the pay-per-views being very high quality, but then when it comes to a main event match, we've seen it where things go awry somewhere, and it doesn't make sense, and it impacts everything that you just saw on that pay-per-view that was so good. It kind of puts a stain on it because most people are watching it for that last match, for that main event, and if you're not getting the quality that you're getting from those other matches, then it's gonna leave a mark on that show, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I believe personally, I think you'll get and I'm okay with it if they do it in this instance. I do believe you'll get a very similar to Roman Cody WrestleMania 40. I do think this will be a little bit overbooked. You'll have different people coming down and interfering. Ultimately, though, you get to Hangman, right? And I'm actually okay with it in this instance. Now, do I need shoes with spikes on them and all this other bullshit? No, I don't need any of that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't need any of that. But, if this is like their Cody Roman and you have this unbelievable moment with Hangman Page here and his hand is raised in Texas, I'm all for it. I really do. I think this will be really tremendous. And we got Eric Jacinto commenting, and this is by far AEW's biggest main event. Hangman needs to win. He wins the entire locker room, comes out like they did with Luger when he beat Hogan. Yes, or like Cody.
Yeah.
100%, Eric. He's on board with it.
Yeah. I think, and that's where I go back to the Death Riders situation. Like at the very beginning of the Death Riders storyline, it seemed like that they were going to do like this takeover. And it really hasn't turned out that way. It's just been kind of just like the rinse and repeat. All right, we're going to attack these people, and then we're going to it just hasn't gone that way. And I think that whoever was going to win the title from Moxley, I think that was probably the goal, was to get it like that. Do I think it's going to turn out that way? I think it should, but I think the way that they've booked the Death Riders, it really it doesn't have that same feel. And I hope that, you know, we do see Hangman win it, and I think it's very important that he does go over, because he's got that sympathy. He's got the fans behind him. I think it's very important, but I think it lost a lot of that from the way that the Death Rider story has gone over the last. It's been over a year. Has it been a year yet for them? It's kind of just like it just hasn't worked.
Well, yeah, when you thought it was going to be Shane McMahon, and they did. They went the NWO Outsiders kind of style, and you're like, oh, well, other than Wheeler Yuta, it is kind of like, including Marina Shafir, it is kind of like old WWE people in the group.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it went. Whether that was an intention, maybe that was the original intention. It didn't work out with Shane. I don't know, but the inability to pivot off of this for this long has been atrocious. And they put the title belt on Moxley way, way too fast. But it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a strong card, good show. Let's try to get to, obviously, Saturday night's main event. There's really one main thing I want to just discuss about that. And obviously, it is the main event, which is Goldberg and Gunther. I actually thought the segment this week was very strong, and I almost forgot, Eric, that I think they actually did themselves a service by not putting Goldberg on too much in the lead up to this. They had the initial challenge they had last night. Outside of that, they really kind of kept him off of television, and I just think it was well done here.
I was a huge critic a few weeks ago about this whole Goldberg situation. As I said, I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan, but I will say, and I just want to say, watching Raw last night, that crowd was hot.
That was great.
And that made that segment better than it would have been, because as soon as he pulled up in that car and started walking out, the Goldberg chants, and Corey Graves stole it, because I was thinking the same thing when I'm watching it. It's like, it feels like I'm watching WCW Nitro from '98, and he stole it from me from the Georgia Dome. He must be watching this. But anyway, I would say I agree. They've done a really nice job of building this. I do want to see it, and I'm curious how they're going to, because I would imagine that Goldberg's got to come out looking strong. He's not winning the championship, but he's got to come out looking strong in his last match. I think this is the last match you're going to see with Goldberg. So everything he's got, he's putting it in there. So you're probably going to see spears, and I would imagine you're going to see a jackhammer. I think Gunther's the right dance partner for him for his last match. I think that's going to be Gunther's going to make him look good. He's a pro. He's going to make him look good. And I think this match is going to be better than what I thought it was going to be a few weeks ago. I think they've set it up really well.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I am interested to see this matchup now. I believe truly, for all of the critics, whether they're people we know or people we've read in the IWC, of Gunther and his title run, I think the one thing you can say about Gunther, and this goes to his world title, it goes to his Intercontinental title, it goes to after with Pat McAfee, and a laundry list of people: R-Truth, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, every person this guy has worked with. He works such a style that he could be the athletic guy, or he can be the guy that can give you a slow down technical power pace. He I think in hindsight, you really do see why he is the one chosen to have the Goldberg match. I think his personality is hateable enough, his on-screen personality is hateable enough to where you get the desired reaction you want for Goldberg. And I do think that he will make him look like $1 million as much as you can on the way out the door. So yes, I am intrigued by this. To me, it's an attraction match. It's a world title match, but it's an attraction match.
Yeah.
And I'm in on it too, Eric. I don't think there's a chance in hell that he wins the title, but no. I like that he did the interview with Cole and they just dropped the seed of doubt. Nothing too much. They didn't overexpose him in the build up to this. It was just the seed of doubt, and having Cole be the one to consistently pound that idea home on his behalf of, what happens if you win the title? Well, wouldn't that be an interesting situation? That's enough for me. It's like he won't, but what if he did?
Right. It's not it's going to be a squad. There's no way he's winning, but maybe, just maybe, if he wins, what were to happen? It makes you feel like your intelligence isn't being like, what am I looking for?
Insulted.
Insult. There you go. You're not insulting my intelligence. There's no way Goldberg's winning this match. Is his last match. Yada yada yada. So, I'm intrigued. It should be good. And to answer Eric, I'm excited about All In more than Saturday Night's Main Event. I mean, you should be for AEW. I mean, it's because that's their WrestleMania. I would expect that to be a better quality, because that's their big show, but they've got a lot to prove as well.
Absolutely. I guess something happened with our Facebook stream. So for anybody who jumped over, appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's something it might be something with the storm. I don't know what's going on. We appreciate anybody who jumped over here and is continuing to rock and roll with us through these last 5 minutes or so. I'm interested with it. Should be interesting. Moving forward, obviously, we have Evolution 2. We kind of touched on it earlier on how they handled the promotion of this event. So we're going to move on from that. We had an interesting conversation earlier, right? Obviously, we're going to have legacy acts. We have Trish and Nikki, who both can still work, coming back and being participants, as well as NXT is going to participate in this. We're going to have Raw and SmackDown participate in this. So, and who else? Who knows who else, right? So, so I ask you now. I know you're not a fan of how some of these matches are. Just to give our viewers a quick catch up on this as we approach our final segment here. We had a conversation earlier today, and it was about having matches rushed and put together, having people put into matches who quote unquote didn't earn the match. And we had a bit of a debate earlier, and I said, let's save it for the show today. One of the specifics that I think Trish we can get on board with, right? Seems a little hot-shotted. They want to get her on the card. Okay, I get you with that. I think the one we disagree on was the Warriors, which it started because I said, oh, man, I'm super psyched, and you said I'm excited to see them together. I just wish that they would have done it in a better way. So I'm going to let you jump on there, and then I'll jump in after.
Cool.
In your side of this, why you are not a fan, and this is kind of encompassing a little bit of how this card was put together, right? Outside, like we have Bayley. I think we're really into that. Let's just say that real, because I know we're not going to be able to get into the match. We are very excited for the Bayley, Lyra, and Becky match. I really hope that they put Lyra over in this. But,
I don't think they are. But I think Becky retains, which I think will lead to even more of a feud with Bayley and Lyra.
Correct.
which I think they have really good chemistry together. You could just
Sure.
tell. You could just tell, like these segments and stuff. They've been really good, and I think it's brought the best out of Lyra as well. You're finally seeing that character. You can't like from NXT. She came over, and there wasn't really a whole lot to her, and I think now you're seeing that character, and I think that's part of she's being put with this upper echelon talent, this established talent. And I think she's taking advantage of it, which is great. To go back to I with Evolution, I think like we talked about, it's kind of been thrown together. There hasn't been a lot of build. I think there are a few matches that have story, like we talked about that triple threat, the Jade Cargill Naomi one that has obviously a lot of story behind that, and should come to an end here. But going to Trish and Tiff, like I get like in storyline, you get to pick who your opponent is. All right, that's fine, and they were partners before, so I get it, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's an attraction. Cool. And again, like, do you think Trish is winning the championship? No. But for what it is, it will probably be entertaining. And I think Trish still has it in her to give a good quality match. And I think she may be the one carrying Tiff, which may not be a bad thing. Considering there have been some matches that have been kind of a little suspect as far as some of her spots go. But I think this will definitely help, having the veteran in there, even though, and she's shown that she can come back and not miss a beat. So I think it'll be good for Tiff. The Kabuki Warriors. So yes, I'm psyched that they're back together. I think they work, of course, work well together. Former tag champions, they're established. I just think that in comparison to when they announced this 4-team match for the tag team titles, there were some on other shows they had to win matches to get in. I mean, on SmackDown, Charlotte and Alexa had to defeat 2 other teams to get in, and NXT they had to win matches as well. So, and even Roxanne had to win a match to qualify as the tag team champion. So I just wish there was a little more continuity. I'm not saying that they're not the right person. I think I've seen where Natty and Maxine were the only other tag team on Raw. Do they really need to be on this pay-per-view? No, they belong in the Battle Royal. That's cool. But I think the matter of the Kabuki Warriors coming back together just is so out of left field that it could have been done a little better, and I'm probably being a little picky about it. But I think it deserved a little bit more of a build because of who Asuka is. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Asuka's probably top 3 on the roster, and I die on that hill. I think she's fantastic. I just think they could have done a little more with that, building it up, put them in a tag match, get a little bit of a sample going into Evolution. But we got what we got, and I think it's going to be a good match. But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, see, this is where we differ, right? Because my debate back with you, and again, you're kind of we're running some parallels, and then we start to go for a couple different directions, then we end up back in the same area. I have no issue with this. Typically, I believe in a continuity. However, there is storyline continuity here. It was never said that any team in this tournament or in this match needs to qualify. Now, every general manager has gone about their own way of making a decision. And I said to you, hey, this is, in fairness, this might be the most qualified women's tag team champions they've ever had in terms of they became an actual tag team, and they're unbelievable chemistry-wise in the ring that you can make the argument that they are the most qualified to be in this match, which you didn't debate on that. However, I said to you, when you're a full-timer, there is a such thing as reputation carries some weight. accomplishment carries some weight. And it's not like Asuka has been around in losing matches like Solo Sikoa, and then boom, suddenly she's in a match, right? This is the opposite of that. They were tag team champions literally up, and they lost them right before they went out. And honestly, I think part of it, they might have been because Asuka was hurt. So they literally lost the time. And then she's been out for almost 2 years, like a year and a half. Really, for 2 years, it's been her and Kyrie back and forth. So she comes back. We have Queen of the Ring. She goes for that, doesn't get it. Her buddy's getting her ass kicked, and she comes down and she saves her. And the opportunity is there. And I made the argument, at the end of the day, Adam Pearce might be the smartest one because he's got people who aren't real tag teams getting together to qualify. And Pearce is like, screw that. I have the best tag team right here, 2-time champions who have a chemistry together. I'm putting them in. I want that title on my brand. You could make the argument he's the smartest one out of all.
So you're telling me that Charlotte Flair, a 14-time world champion, had to qualify to get in this thing, but Asuka and Kyrie didn't?
Because she's not a tag team wrestler. Yes.
Alexa, but Charlotte Flair is a former tag team champion. Alexa Bliss is also a former tag team champion.
They're not real tag team. They're not. Listen, Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels won a tag team title together. Dude Love won a tag team title with Steve Austin. Okay, we get it.
Alexa Bliss is a multi-time tag team champion with Nikki Cross.
Okay, well, if Nikki Cross was her tag team partner, then I would say Nikki Cross and her to get into the match. But they didn't.
Agree to disagree. But you're saying that your best wrestler on the roster, the number one talent that you have, had to qualify with a tag team partner that isn't her tag team partner, but let's just throw Kyrie and Asuka in there,
a legitimate tag team,
just because they came and asked.
2-time champions, longest. They might actually be the longest reigning in terms of a cumulative.
They probably are. It's either them or Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah, and I don't think it's so. Yes, my answer is yes to that. By the way,
okay.
On our way out the door here, but it's a good conversation. I would love to come back and circle back on some of these kinds of conversations.
No, this is great. This is what makes wrestling so great. You can have different opinions. You can agree to disagree. You can have fun conversations. You're not in a heated battle and an argument. This is what makes it so fun.
It is.
Can I answer this question?
That's what I want to do. We're gonna wrap up in about 2 minutes. I wanted you to give Prism, who, by the way, Prism, appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
In here. It's been a while since I talked to Prism. Prism's a long-time viewer and listener, though. Says, as someone who doesn't have a ton of time to watch wrestling during the week, if y'all had to recommend one show for consistent storytelling and one for better in-ring product, which would it be? We're talking weekly basis, Eric, not pay-per-views. So this is a great question. It's kind of a general question, you know, and I really like it. Eric is actually a very qualified person to answer this. So by all means.
Well, thank you for the question, Prism. I would say storytelling, anything WWE, Raw or SmackDown is probably where you want to tune in. And I'm going to throw a curveball here with the wrestling. Now, to Chrome's point, if you want to watch a monthly pay-per-view and you want to see good wrestling and you want to spend the money, you're probably getting you probably want to look at an AEW show. All In is probably going to be, I would imagine, are going to have some good matches. You know, you're getting Okada and Omega. We didn't talk about that, but like you're going to get some really good matches. I think they're going to put on a really good show. If you're looking for something you just want to stream, right now TNA's doing really well. I think NXT. I think you're going to get more wrestling out of those shows because this WWE is just more story driven, and it's going to be. And I think that's why you get a lot of people that are tuning into AEW. And there's a lot of wrestling out there right now. MLW, there's and AAA. I'm curious to see what they're going to do at AAA as far as the acquisition with WWE. We had Worlds Collide, and I thought that show was good. I'm curious to see where that's going to go. But I think I think right now there's a lot of good stuff, and you don't necessarily need to watch WWE to get good wrestling. I think your storytelling, and I still think there's more meat on the bone as far as storytelling goes with WWE, but I think that's where you want to go for the more of the story. And if you're looking for something that is going to be drawn out for a longer period of time, you're probably looking at anything WWE Raw or SmackDown. But I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I agree with Eric. I think he's pretty much spot on. If we're talking whether paying or not, AEW pay-per-views once a month or every other month, whatever they are.
Yeah.
They are worth more often than not. They're worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
But if we're talking storytelling, it's 100% WWE, and I think you can pick. There are times where NXT is the best storytelling program.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I
Um,
think especially now that SmackDown's going back to 2 hours, I think they went back this past week.
They did.
You're gonna see more storytelling, and you're gonna see less wrestling product just because of the amount of time. They don't have enough time to do that now. They're gonna get their story in. They're gonna have a 5-6 minute match.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little longer, but I think for the most part you're gonna get mostly story from Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, if you're able to get TNA Impact on Access, it's worth the watch.
Yeah,
I truly believe that, and you get a little bit of all of it there. And they get very creative sometimes with the cinematography and different things. They're a company that's willing to take some risks.
Yeah,
which I appreciate about.
They've come a long way, and I think the WWE. And we talked about Josh Alexander earlier. I wonder if he's like, man, I left for AEW. I could have been on NXT instead if I hung around.
I know.
But that's devil's advocate. That it's who's to say that was going to happen?
100%, absolutely 100%. Great show today, and Eric. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the comments, questions, the people who hung with us. I'm not sure what happened over on Facebook. Apparently, we got cut off our last 15 minutes. But if you jumped over here on the tube, we appreciate you. And please continue to like, subscribe, and follow and share our stuff out there. Help build us. Help keep us going. Let's help bring the wrestling content here to A2D to a new level. And thank you to our sponsor, Specialized Physical Therapy in Burlington and Cherry, New Jersey, our Dr. Paul Vidal and his award-winning team. We want to thank them. And check them out, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And again, I got to throw this one out there again. 2 weeks from today, it's going to be a fun time. We got WWE Hall of Famer, highly decorated. Was recently on LFG on A&E. If you watch that show, see him all over. He makes his appearances. He's a great guy. Going to be a lot of fun, lots to talk about. We got 45 minutes with Devon Dudley, so it's going to be very exciting. Make sure you check that out. Working on some other interviews to come up as well, and plus some other new fun show concepts that I'd like to get implemented in. So enjoy this weekend. If you guys do check it out and sit and watch everything, please enjoy it. It's going to be a hell of a weekend for wrestling. And Eric will be back with us soon.
Thanks, man. Always a pleasure. And everybody enjoy all the wrestling this weekend. We'll talk soon. Yeah.
And enjoy your cruise because I know you're not going to be back.
Oh, yeah. I got to find out. Hopefully that Starlink works really well on the cruise because I'll have my iPad and hopefully I can watch some of this stuff. But that's what's good. It'll be there when I get back too. So
that's true.
That's another great thing.
Yeah, and at least you'll avoid spoilers that way then, hopefully.
True story.
But for myself, for Eric, for everybody here at A2D Radio, make sure you guys stay tuned. Top of the hour, we're going to have Flyers A2D. Following up here, Niche Night is back, and we are very excited about it. But again, for myself, for Eric, and everybody here at A2D Radio, all the commenters out there, love you guys. Make sure you let anybody out there know that you love them. It's really, again, if you need a reminder, you see what's happening out here in Texas right now. It's heartbreaking. So every day, let somebody know you love them, give them a hug. And, we love you guys. So take it easy and have a good day.